Thank you, sir.
Rudra, please start and
okay. Dr.
Hello?
Jana, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Rudra.
Yes, Dr. Jana, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Rudra, start, please.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to World Human Sciences and Management Conference 2021 and 22. This is Rudra Narayan Das, Executive Director, Center for ADIVASI Research and Development, Odisha. We are proud to announce that this conference is conducted along with Indian Institute of Management, Sambalpur, Central University of Odisha, Koraput, and Ravenshaw University, Cuttack. I welcome our speaker for today, Honorable Vice-Chancellor of Kalahandi University, Professor Sanjay Kumar Satapathy ji, and participants across the globe through Facebook and YouTube Live, and who are here to listen to Professor Satapathy. Ladies and gentlemen, the broader theme of this conference is AGNOTOLOGICAL context, disciplinary practices of social sciences, and policy trends. On behalf of Center for ADIVASI Research and Development, I extend my profound gratitude to Professor Sanjay Kumar Naik, respected Vice-Chancellor, Ravenshaw University, Professor Mahadev Joyswal, Director, Indian Institute of Management, and Professor Sarat Kumar Palita, Vice-Chancellor, Central University of Odisha. The convener of this largest virtual conference are eminent Indian historian, Professor Chandi Prasad Nanda, and eminent policy activist, writer, and philanthropist, Mr. Charudar Panigrahi. Ladies and gentlemen, the main outcome of this conference is to come up with the national and international framework for the education system in future. The crux of this conference will be the use of digital technologies such as artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and virtual reality that is being increasingly adopted after the outbreak of COVID pandemic. We hope this conference would help students, faculties, researchers, and all to expand their mental horizon and help the education system in future. And dear friends, the Center for ADIVASI Research and Development is a leading research-oriented institution promoting ethnographic, empirical, and evidence-based research for engaging and addressing the challenges that 21st century globe is facing today. The prime agenda of this institution is to come up with potential policy solutions for societal change while believing in the idea of debate, dialogue, and discussion, and with expertise, experiencing, and education. The institution focused on marginalized communities and work for their livelihood to protect the nature, culture, language, and identity in particular. The age of modernity has witnessed that change is the only constant phenomena for societal purpose to enhance knowledge. Our information work for them is methodical and avoid paradoxically framework which is neglected so many centuries from theory to become practice. Our center sincerely believes in the idea and concept of social marketing, which is seriously looking for non-profit marketing and builds new social entrepreneurship for check and balance mechanism to glorify generations to come. Center for ADIVASI Research and Development come to serve with the holistic approach of critical thinking in education to fill the gaps and to plan accordingly for the voiceless communities. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's evening, we have with us one of the very fascinating personality of our state and the entire academic world of India is none other than Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar Satapathy. Is the Honorable Vice-Chancellor of Kalahandi University, Odisha. Professor Satapathy is a retired Professor of Commerce of Ravenshaw University. He has authored more than 25 books, including 13 related to academics, and has more than 36 years of teaching experience, and he successfully guided more than 20 PhD scholars. Professor Satapathy's research area is tribal ethics, greenfield life, IQ, EQ, RQ, and CQ studies study finance, management, entrepreneurship, rationality, satisfaction, curiosity, satisfaction, self-management, and spiritual entrepreneurship. Professor Sanjay is a Ravenshaw product, a teacher by choice, discovering with a divine jail often off and commerce and steers to pupils to go beyond the courses of developing self-potential. Professor Satapathy is awarded as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Excellence Award in 2022 and Leadership in Education Indian Leadership Award in Education Indian University in 2020 and Golden Aim Award of Excellence and Lifetime Achievement Award by Confederation of Indian Universities in 2021. Professor Sanjay is got his doctorate from Utkal University on the topic of development of tribal economy through the cooperative, a study of Kalahandi of Odisha. And also, we are very glad to have you, sir, in World Human Sciences and Management Conference. In today's symposia, you have to be throw light on your topic as you suggested that need of the hour to think through new education policy 2020. Before inviting Professor Satapathy, I would like to invite Professor Srinivasulu NS for a theme presentation and welcome talk about Professor Satapathy. Over to you, Professor Srinivasulu.
Thank you, Rudra. Very good evening to all the people who are party to this program, and indeed a very contemporary and relevant topic, the need of the hour, new education policy. The new education policy perhaps has got loads of expectations to be fulfilled in the days to come, because it intends to not only rehaul but reform the education system that we have got in this country. Perhaps it goes without saying, and I don't even mince words in saying this, that the education system in India is perhaps lagging behind. The market demands, the industry demands are not actually properly met in the academic syllabus curriculum structure that we actually design. What we teach and what we learn in schools, colleges, and universities is actually far beyond the skill that they are supposed to acquire for the purpose of they not only gaining some employment, but as well to face the day-to-day challenges in life. That's the reason why we always debate in webinars that there is a huge gap between academia and the industry, or academia and the market, or academia and the real life eventualities. That is because the skill development is lagging. We teach certain things which are there as part of the curriculum, which is there as part of the academia, and we never know whether the teachings or the learnings, the dissemination of knowledge, theory, whatever we are actually trying to provide to our students is actually helping them in solving real life and day-to-day problems. I'm not simply saying that every student would end up joining the industry or joining the market, but there should be some knowledge which is going to be practically useful for the students in their life. In that regard, the skill development aspect that we have been contemplating from past 5 to 6 years across the nation is very, very important. So what I'm trying to say is that in every course, in every curriculum, right, in every school, college, and university, we have to give some impetus to the practical-oriented programs, clinical programs, skill development programs. And when I say practicals, it is not just confined to science and technology. We generally think that practicals are actually learned or are practiced in only the science streams, science and technology streams, or engineering, or for that matter, MBBS. That's not really true. Even in social sciences also, languages also, including law also, there could be some practicals, clinical papers, and skill development. And I believe that the new education policy that we are actually contemplating now should also involve, should perhaps be involving the development of skill in each and every discipline. I'll quote an example here. Some 20-25 years back, when people used to perceive legal education, they used to think that legal education can be obtained in the evening colleges or through distance mode, and things like that. It was never taken as a serious learning. That is because what you teach in law college in terms of the papers that are not going to completely help the advocates and judges in discharging their functions. The actual skill they will develop aftermath of the completion of the course when they join their senior advocates or judges chamber, where they will learn the skill. So reading up the theory could be done in evening colleges or through distance mode also, right? That used to be the way in which legal education used to be pursued 20 years back. But now things have changed. We have reformed the legal education by incorporating certain skill development papers, clinical papers, practical papers, where students will go to senior advocates, judges, law firms, corporates during the course, not after the course. During the course, they will go and develop certain skills, and it is part of the curriculum. And without developing those skills, right, that is by getting training with the senior advocates or judges chamber, working with corporates or working with the law firms, providing legal aid, right, developing the skill of arguments, pleading and all that, right, the skill which is required for the legal scholars, that without developing that, they cannot get degree, right? So in the similar way, all courses, including social sciences, economics, political science, sociology, even languages, Odia, Bengali, Hindi, Telugu, all languages, whatever discipline that we are actually into, whatever course that you are actually trying to pursue, there ought to be some skill development. There ought to be some clinical papers, some practical papers to ensure that a degree, 3, 4 or 5 years of time that student is spending in the college or university is actually going to help that fellow out all along his life. I'm not just saying that it will let him earn his livelihood. What I'm trying to say is that there should be some skill development that ought to be taken into consideration while we disseminate knowledge or while we frame syllabus, or we should ensure that skill development, practical papers or clinical papers are not just confined to science and technology stream, irrespective of disciplines, irrespective of streams. We should ensure that through this new education policy, whatever we are contemplating, we should ensure that the degrees in India are not just on paper. The degrees in India are actually on skill development. Every degree holder, he has developed some skill which is helping him or her out in his or her day-to-day life and practical life, including the way they go to their respective employments. In all aspects of their life, that skill they acquire, not only knowledge, the application of knowledge as well, right? Not only learning knowledge, but they should have the skill to use that knowledge, apply that knowledge, develop that knowledge. And that aspect probably we are missing, right? Colleges and universities are not just there for dissemination of knowledge. They should also let the students to learn how that knowledge which has been disseminated can be used, applied for solving practical problems. And that probably what we talk about skill development, right? That skill can be in economics, political science, law, sociology, or even chemistry and physics also, right? Skill is not just confined to any one particular stream. So keeping that in mind, I believe that we need to look at all the disciplines that are there, right, in respective universities and colleges. And I believe this new education policy of India would ignite debate in that regard, where skill development becomes a priority. Without a skill development in their respective stream, without a skill development in their respective discipline, students shouldn't get degree. Or whatever degree that they get, it's not just about learning some theory, but as well some practical elements, some skill by virtue of which the knowledge that they have earned, they have acquired also the skill to use that knowledge, apply that knowledge in solving practical or day-to-day problems. So with this brief introductory remarks, I would invite the today's speaker, a very famous academician from the East India, the Vice-Chancellor of Kalahandi University, who has got many more things to say about new education policy in India because of his vast experience. Over to you, sir. Professor Satapathy, the Vice-Chancellor of Kalahandi University.
Thank you, dear. My regards to all the listeners. Listening is a very difficult activity. Of course, strategic talking is difficult, but listening is much more difficult. So while entering into the domain of new education policy 2020, I want to focus on certain things. First, the film many of you must have watched, 4 Idiots. The main character was based on the life of Sonam Wangchuk of Ladakh. Sonam was a BTech from Kashmir, but went back to Ladakh and tried to apply the knowledge. That is not only difficult, also very challenging. That is one part. Second, if it happens, I will tell you about the educational excellence of Nalanda and Puspagiri. But going straight to New Educational Policy 2020, I must speak about the vision of Professor Kasturi Rangan. Mr. Kasturi Rangan, if it will be underlined in a few words, the new education system aims to create equitable society. Equitable society. It provides an integrated yet flexible approach towards education and emphasizes the policy to the aspect of holistic, multidisciplinary education as a foundational component at all levels of education. The vision of India's new educational system has been crafted to ensure that it touches the life of each and every citizen of the country, consistent with their needs and necessities, besides creating a just and equitable society. Entering into the 21st century, that was the vision. Another thing is the liberal education. In the modern day social and economic landscape, this age-old Indian concept is now finding recognition in a new form. Liberal education explores the remarkable relationship that exists among the sciences and humanities, mathematics and art, medicine and physics, and more generally, the surprising unity of all fields of human endeavor. There is a struggle behind. Come up to this. If I go back, I admire the person, Professor Yashpal, who was the chairman of UGC. When he was given the charge for the recommendation of the education system, a very typical view he was given, that was learning without burden. Learning without burden, it is hidden from 1993. This vision has been experimented. The process of framing the curriculum and writing of textbooks should be decentralized and involve more teachers. Education committee should be constituted at the village, block and district level. The jurisdiction of CBSE should be restricted to KVs and the Navodaya Vidyalayas only, and all other schools should be affiliated with the respective state boards. Interview tests and interviews for nursery admission should be done away with. There should be no compulsion for school children to carry heavy books for school. Primary school children should not be given any homework, and even for the higher classes, it should be non-textual. Greater use of electronic media, and it also recommended many steps to improve of the teachers' training. Long strive for a number of years. The experiment which was conducted now, that is to give a change in the land of India. Experiments for education has occurred for thousands of years. Taking the case of Odisha, long back, in the 7th century, before that, in the Laritgiri, Ratnagiri, Udayagiri areas, the ancient Buddhist Mahavihara of Puspagiri was there. Nalanda was there. The residential university may be focused as the first residential university of the country. And people from far, they are the students. Number of schools were there, number of professors. And it was also an experiment. Successful experiment, you can say. And now, in the 21st century, what we are thinking of? Education for all. And as it is told, we want to induce the skill to the people. The fixed boundary of education is to be relaxed. Each one of us is different. How? Think of. Our left hand thumb impression is not equal to our right hand thumb impression. They are different. No finger's impression is equal from left to right. Why? It is my hand only. My left hand is not equal to my right hand. My left hemisphere is not equal to my right hemisphere. The lobes create the images which are here. So, this difference which is there within, we can say each one of us is like a floating iceberg. 9/10 is underwater and 1/10 is above. What is seen, what is located, what is focused, what is spotted, that is not our whole. When I say this, you must be remembering the accident of Titanic, such a big ship. But the captain was ignorant about the floating icebox. There was a class, the person in charge might be in mind, I am driving such a big ship, I will crash it and go. But the opposite happens. My point of telling this, it is in core of the NEP, the potentialities, the hidden talents of the students, that has to be ignited. Somebody may not be interested for mathematics, but the skill might not be there, but he or she is supposed to. A student of physics might be interested in music, but the combination is not there. Of course, you may say APJ Abdul Kalam was a very good player of Rudra Veena. It was the passion which he had taken up. But many may leave their hobbies on the way. They don't have the combination. That has also been thought up to make each one skilled, to make people think of the different avenues which are there. If I'll quote some of the views, according to the policy, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure will replace the existing 10 plus 2 structure. This structure is focused on students' formative years of learning. This 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure corresponds to ages from 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, 14 to 18, 12 years of schooling. 3 years of Anganwadi and preschooling are included in this structure. At the age of 3, around that period, the emotional development is met. That becomes very, very speedy, you can say. Emotional development or nurturing the emotional development will create a better personality. If I go back to my school age, IQ was very important. But now looking back, to all those students who are having high IQ, some of them are very good, very successful in their life. But otherwise, on the other side, a few of them have gone for suicide. They're mad. The number is low. Still, why it happens to the persons with higher IQs? It may be no attention has been given in the system, in the educational institutions about their EQ, emotional quotient. The person who is interested in NSS, NCC, YRC, Scouts, is not supposed to be a mediocre or a very bad student. or a student of very lower echelon. The extracurricular activity, somebody is a good debater, a good painter, a good essayist, a poet. Does it snatches time, concentration? Maybe parallelly, both of the things go. But our system lacks in giving a support to those potentialities. We are going to set up a national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy. The responsibility for successful implementation for achieving the foundation of numeracy and literacy for all students till class 3 falls upon the states of India. One of the merits is the formation of National Book Promotion Policy in India. Appropriate authorities will conduct the school examinations for grades 3, 5, and 8. The board exams for the grades 10 and 12 will continue. But NEP aims to redesign the structure with holistic development. Parak, the examination system that is to be set up. Another thing is the academic bank of credit will be established. The credits earned by the students can be stored, and when the final degree gets completed, those can be counted. We come in contact with persons who leave for some or other reason in between, maybe after +3 first year. Then the person comes back after 5 years. What to do? This happening is not singular. We cannot say it is plenty also. But what about those cases? How to treat them? How to bring them to track? In the credit system, it will be there. Maybe another thing happens. In between, somebody is interested. No more, I am interested to learn science. I learn literature. I read English. Getting a degree there, then interested again. No, I have left it on the way. I must start it. So an academic bank of credit will be established. The credit earned by the student will be stored. And when the final degree will be counted, or final degree will be completed, this will be counted. Then multidisciplinary education and research will be developed. It may be at par with IITs and IIMs. These are scheduled to be set up for introducing multidisciplinary academics. The same list of accreditation, regulation rules will be used to guide both the public and private institutions. And another thing which we have experienced for the previous years, making the students prepared for the future pandemic situations. online academic will be promoted on a larger scale. And it will be mandatory to have at least a 4-year B.Ed for joining the occupation of teaching. So this is an experiment innovating the education system and to make the future students the students who have to come up, future India, in a larger scale, in a better or ignited workforce. There will be drawbacks. Because whenever we are setting a policy, from framing to application, execution, there will be gap. The same learning is given by a teacher, but the students do not receive the same. They do not write the same thing in the exam paper. That becomes different. And there are so many questions within the students. May not be the course curriculum will solve all that. So that may happen. The panel constituted by the chief of ISRO, had gone deep into the matter, immersed into the problems, envisioning the India of greater heights. We allowed the inclusion and focus given by early childhood care and education, as it brings the importance of yearly learning, as I told, at the age of 3, 4, the attractions for the worldly matters, they're high, they're to be nurtured. Early childhood care and education play a vital role in building a foundation for lifelong learning and well-being for every child. The national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy is the need. That's why it is highlighted. India is the home for largest K-12 population, and the universalization of early childhood education, the push to improve gross enrollment ratio, and a renewed focus on new life skills such as coding will help create a stronger pipeline of future leaders of India. Another thing which Sonam Wangchu also appreciated, promotion of mother tongue in education system till class 5 as a medium of instruction is very welcome step, but teaching learning material is available in a few standard languages only. So it will be a heavy exercise, needing investments, and it would be required to frame the content, which is a top affair. And education has to be made more accessible to all. It stresses on the importance of the curriculum, pedagogical framework for early childhood, which strengthens the base of every individual. So, rightly, it has focused on the importance of developing the scientific acumen at an early age. Another interesting aspect is NEP is to provide infrastructural and academic support to dropouts. What will the figure? It will round up to around 2 crores. By formulating different ways of learning with the help of formal and informal educational modes. There is a special provision for socially and financially challenged groups in the new policy. They have also got the right of development, and some of them, as it is told, suppose there is a lack in one page, there might be abundance in the other. A person with a visual incapability might be a very good singer, might be a very good planner, but by looking to one aspect of the people, we cannot say that they lack in the common frame. So the emphasis is on primary education. The change of focus from English is a strategic move to promote national inclusiveness through use of mother tongue to communicate until class 5. Then, a bit to ramp up digital and educational becoming multilingual, the accessibility will increase across the country as the institutions will introduce multidisciplinary platforms. We have to preserve our language, preserve our culture, which has no substitute. Think of the rich tribal heritage, the tribal culture of the country, even the state, 62 tribes, they are here, and their cultural richness is yet to be discovered, yet to be framed. Looking to the dance of a tribal, you cannot dance. Looking to the video, one cannot dance Gumra, which is one of the traditional dances of Kalahandi. In skilling of each child during schooling and will increase the stature of skill-based education and also increase the employability of the youth. This structure is based on taking cognizance of a child's developmental journey during their formative years, as well as trying to ensure that critical characteristics like knowledge seeking, logical thinking, social skills like communication, teamwork, etc. to be imbibed. That is to be imbibed going through for the ages, I have connected two things. One is knowing, second is knowledge. Another two words which I can say, which is a property which I have taken within me, efficiency and effectiveness. Knowledge, gathering knowledge is possible. We can mug up certain things and move it in the exam papers. We have the knowledge. But knowing becomes a different aspect, which will be stressed by the new education policy, not simply knowledge. Reading a book, or otherwise I can say knowing about driving, knowledge of driving, ABC of driving, accelerator, brake and clutch. That may be learned, but with that, what one cannot step into the road with the vehicle. The experience, the applicability, the execution is highly required. Otherwise, it may not happen. There will be accidents. There will be fear. A fear psychosis will develop. And if that is there within, I'll take you back. I will talk about IQ, EQ. You may think the next quotient which I will tell, that is SQ. No, that is the last. Before that, what I can say, another two quotients which frame the foundation of new education policy. That is a simple equation which I can say like this: CQ plus PQ is more than plus PQ is more than IQ. What is CQ? Curiosity quotient. PQ, the passion quotient. Together, they frame more than IQ. Here lies the nurturing of the talents during childhood. Curiosity is there. I remember Professor Yaspal was an expert of a program in Doordarshan, Turning Point. I think many of you must have watched that, might have. He was answering to the queries of school children. Once, a child asked a question, "Sir, why the drenched water or why the earth is having a very beautiful fragrance after the first rainfall?" I repeat, why? The earth smells so nice after the touch of the first rainfall. I still remember the crease in the head of Professor Yaspal. So many poets, so many people are attracted by this fragrance. But this question has not come to anybody's mind. This curiosity was not there. Why such fragrance is there? Okay, my dear, I will have to go for an experiment and I'll tell you. So he went for the experiment. In the laboratory, what he found, when the soils get heated, a microorganism takes birth and that dies on the touch of water. And when it dies, such fragrance comes out. Think of so scientific. But it is there in everybody's mind. The scent of, the fragrance of the first rain. So this curiosity which is there, as I told you, CQ plus PQ is more than IQ. Simply mugging up things and thinking, addressing is not enough. Curiosity. The observation of very small things and the positive attitude is behind many of the inventions and discoveries of the world. Many good students have not been able to solve they have not. The toppers of examinations or toppers throughout their life, they have not given solutions to the common human problems in many cases. But the solutions are given by those who might be backbenchers in the schools. New thoughts, new areas of action, new ideas have come up. So the inclusion of professional and choice-based disciplines as a part of higher education will give students a whole new dimension towards honoring the soft skills. By 2030, this approach may start giving the results. The transformational approach from marks-based report card to a holistic evaluation is a future-ready shift. It signals the end of rote learning and brings in assessment based on application of core concepts, introduction of grades or introduction of skills from grade 6 onwards, enabling every child to have at least one skill at the end of school education. So the elimination of rigid streams in secondary education will ensure that no career option is restricted to students due to subject specialization. The relook at the grading system was the need of the hour to ensure fair and accurate analysis of students' potential. I repeat, a floating iceberg was 1/10 above water and 9/10 underwater. Similarly, our dresses, our talk, our style of living may not be the identity, the parameters to know ourselves. That may be confusing. There might be giving a wrong signal to our inner potential. There will be multiple entry and exit options. Multiple exit options in degree courses will give a boost to vocational qualifications and practical knowledge, which is the need of the hour in the changing time globally. Change is the apply, it is told sometime at the intro. Some 2,300 years before, it was told, we cannot step into the same water twice because the water is continuously going on. I have referred to two words again. One is efficiency, second is effectiveness. The present system which is going on, that is a mad run for efficiency. But we have a behavioral aspect. We have to be effective. I salute the person who has analyzed the two concepts. Efficiency is doing things right, but effectiveness is doing right things. Doing things right, particular, restricted. But when we say doing right things, somebody is right towards the parents, right towards brothers and sisters, right towards friends, right towards the colleagues, a good team player, and finally, right for the globe. What is happening here may affect a large portion of the society. A wrong approach in the laboratory may affect the globe. The globe may be endangered. So we have to be effective for the future. So many things are there in the new education policy. Starting from emphasizing critical thinking, creativity, stronger conceptual understanding that will encourage the students to become self-motivational or self-motivated learners. This is much needed for students to acquire skills that will prepare them from the unseen jobs of tomorrow. So the skill-based learning from the early foundation level of academics will help learners identify skill steps much earlier, thereby empowering students to be future ready. So I wish. The critical part of it is the execution part. There is an inertia. Those who have been in building of the students for years, they may be affected by inertia. So they have to think, rethink, nourish the students to see the new India, the new globe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Satapathy, for wonderful deliverance on new education policy. You were rightly said about different aspects and plethora of thoughts and ideas that how we can create a very important education system in our colleges and universities, and what should be the perspectives and what the governments and how the universities should go for a creative learning atmosphere in the universities. Now I would like to invite Professor Srinivaslu if he has some comments on Professor Satapathy's talk. Over to Professor Srinivaslu. Sorry, I thought Professor Srinivasulu is not responding. Now I would like to invite Professor Shravan Bag to go for a quick comment over Professor Satapathy's talk. Over to Shravan Bag, sir.
Well, good evening to one and all. Thank you, Dr. Rudranarayan Das. Hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much once again. And well, it's truly worth listening to such a lovely discourse by Honorable Vice-Chancellor, sir. I could remember the very first sentence he started, that listening is really a tough task. But sir, listening to such a lovely discourse is always pleasant, and it really gives us a lot of learning. And how can we miss such an opportunity of listening to you, your experience? Because I could see that a lot of things that you have connected while you were delivering your talk were coming out of your experience. Because the person who is reading NEP must have to have knowledge of NCF and YESPAL committee, as well as the learning without burden report, because these are the reference points from where we all are here, and we are talking about NEP 2020. And thank you so much, sir, for once again for flagging those very vital issues and sharing your experiences. In your talk, sir, you have in no way you have left any stone untouched. And so thank you so much for such a warm talk. In your talk, sir, you have talked about the several aspects and dimensions as proposed by NEP 2020, which are essentially required in the global positioning of India in recent days, as we are talking about. You have talked about coding, you have talked about mother tongue, and very scientifically you have said how this need of transformation of IQ to EQ, and then the of course in your mathematics you have presented the importance of CQ plus PQ is more than IQ. It's absolutely wonderful to have you on board, sir. But sir, I have a couple of observations, and as you said, inertia or my threat to the entire proposals or the recommendations. Yes, we all agree that the early childhood education is certainly very important when we talk about child's development. In fact, if you look at the data and the research reports, 80% of child's brain develops at this infancy stage, and it is very much essential that we must give enough importance and provisioning in this particular age. But when we look at the statistics and of course the ground reality, somewhere there is a dissatisfaction, or we can say a threat that is coming possibly, because we all know how the Anganwadis are in the state and in the country as well. And we do not find any kind of connection between Anganwadis and the school, although they have been there since long in that very campus, and we all have witnessed what has happened over the years. So there is a little bit of threat, and some sort of real preparation is required there, because those children who are in that campus are the next generation learners, which are going to, who are the next custodian of NEP 2020. So sir, how do you think what strategy could be there to bring a linkage between Anganwadis and school? Because as of now, we do not have any as such roadmap. At least in my knowledge, I don't have. We will be looking forward for your comments and observation, if at all, because this huge pool of preparing Anganwadi workers at par with the recommendations of NEP 2020, and then preparing them to school is a huge gigantic task. So how to combat that? The second one is you have rightly said that the challenge is not in terms of policy framing. It is all in terms of how do we practice, how do we translate it into field into field, and how do we translate it into action. But the very fact is that, sir, you also be agreeing to me that all this requires finance, and we have been talking about 6% of GDP last from so many years, from 66 64 66 Kothari Commission, we have been, talking about 6% of GDP allocation for education. But even in a recent budget, we all witnessed what has happened. So why such kind of apathetic attitude, knowing the fact that this is one of the very key component when we are talking about our positioning in the global sphere, as well as we are talking or we are bracketing ourselves in that, in that bracket of developed nation? Why we are not allocating adequate funds? And if at all the funds are not there, why are we not finding out some kind of alternative solution? So this will be the take from my side, sir. And once again, thank you so much for giving us a very snapshot of the NEP 2020. I know that it is very difficult to touch upon all the aspects of NEP 2020, the whole lot of 77-page document. But you have really touched the very basic points, and it was really wonderful to listening to you, sir. Looking forward, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Bag, for your reflections. Now I would like to invite Professor Satapathy if any reply for Professor Bag. Hello, sir, please unmute yourself.
It is, Bag has listened very carefully. I appreciate. But it is always a difference is there in planning and execution. Bag, what you have told about the Anganwadis and others, I can say a very simple trick. See, our left brain is connected to the right side of the body. The right brain is connected to the left side of the body. But we mostly I say, do maximum activities in the right hand. That means the left brain is more activated, not the left hand and the right brain. But the left brain is containing the centers of reasoning, and the right brain is containing mostly the centers of creativity. All the lefties which I have found in my life, I have tried to interact with them. They are more creative. Many of them are more creative. So within this page, early page, what I may advocate, given chance, what I would like to do, that I will transfer many of the activities of the right hand to the left hand. All activities cannot be transferred, but many of the activities can be transferred from the right hand to the left hand. It may not be 50-50, but if it is even 60-40, then it will ignite the centers of creativity and will change many things. So as you have told, and it is also the feeling of many, that we have to give thorough training to the learning at early stage. Simple money allotment will not be enough. As I have told you, the difference between efficiency and effectiveness, it is an attitudinal change which is to come for those, we should not say them Anganwadi workers, that the gurus at the early stage, training is required, and igniting them that the future of the country is in your hands. So I feel money is a priority, but priority too. The training of these early teachers is very important. If you ask me, is it of your experience? I will say yes. When I was 3 years old, luckily, the small village training centers, chahalis, which are there, I had got an opportunity to be taught by the person who had lost half of his legs in war, came back, taught us. But the person experienced in war, how he has taught, how he has shown us the constellations in the sky, that still I remember, and that kindled the curiosity within me to know about stats, to know about the journey, to go ahead, how to take challenges. That was started at the age of 3, 4. Many things which he had taught me at that time, they were not restricted to the slate. Even I remember the 3 zeros. Still it is reflected in my eyes. There are 2 things which I have got. One is Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. I am a commentator on Rath Jatra. Those 3 zeros come to my mind, and I see many things within their frame. They work like telescope. I also get admired by the book, The 3 Zeros, by Muhammad Dinush of Bangladesh. To quote Swami Vivekananda, the best of the soils created by God is the soil of the human brain. If good seeds are sown, there will be good harvests. So we need to sow good seeds in the brain, my dear Bag. And everything will not happen in a day. Maybe with experiments up to 2030 it is there. Maybe there will be a need of finance. It may be shifted from one sector to the other sector, and we may improve. But I give more priority to the training of the trainers than education, than money.
Thank you so much. Professor.
Thank you.
Now, I want to-
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for explaining as a very good trainer. It was really wonderful to have your comments, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Vikram Kesari Jena to make a conversation with Professor Satapathy.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very enlightening and very wonderful session. And thank you, Rudra and Shravan Bag. And thank you so much, Professor Srinivasalu. Sir, it's although the invitation to Global Dialogue and Mapping Mind series, I feel so and very happy to see you in a Zoom meeting and interacting with you on the auspicious occasion of World Human Science and Management Conference. And it's really pleasure and praiseworthy what you talked about more than 49 minutes and given some light on this particular new education policy need of Java. I would like to know more things from your times. Sir, what your mother did when you were a child and what you feel the today's mother in contemporary days, which we are living in a digital age of life. What you feel the differences between the two mothers? One is from your mother and one is from our mother, in particular the critical time of the pandemic. What is your feeling, sir?
Vikram, it's a very critical question. I don't know how many people will appreciate. But the basic difference is my mother was not so serious in nourishing like the mothers of these days. But I have seen not a single paper of mine, not a single writing of mine is lost. My mother keeps it, though he doesn't understand what I have written. She preserves it with care. And Particularly, I can speak about an incident which may not happen with many of the mothers. That was when I was, it was in the year 1981. I was just 21 years old. I was selected for an interview to participate in TV programs. At that time, it was at Tulsipur. So I got the letter. And at that time, my father was seriously ill. So I thought whether I'll go or not to go. And my mother, who was not attended any school, she told me, if you'll sit at home by not going to the interview, will your father will be okay? Will that be the medicine for your father to be all right? You can go for some time. You can try. It is something new. And leaving this job when you are going, it may give you results. Later on, or I compare that with the opportunity cost. Leaving my ailing father, I went to an interview of Doordarshan. You'll be astonished to know, out of 28 participants, competitors, I was only one to be selected, and I was a Ravenshaw. And I, from my mother's teaching, I also regard Ravenshaw as a mother. I have lost my father early, lost my mother also. So the red pillars of Ravenshaw sometimes, because success and failure comes in life. It is obvious. But in very disturbed hours, in some hours of failure, I felt the pillars have hugged me like my mother's hands. By telling me, go ahead, I am there within you. Go ahead. I want to come you back with flying colors. So, getting more serious may bring stress, and that stress may be transmitted to the children very smoothly, without any pressure, without any blockage, burden of learning, you can say. What my mother has done, that is a prime parameter of my creativity. Simply stressing that you have to be a topper, you have to secure 90%. Don't go for extracurricular activities. That may not frame a life. That may frame certificates with high grades. So, my mother, who was given me all chance to try with different things and take challenges, is unforgettable. I feel as if she protects me as my eyelid protects my eyes. Till now. It may be Sthula or Sukma. After 15 years of living her, after 35 years of leaving my father. Still, I feel I repeat, they protect me as eyelids protect the eyes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I have a great respect for your two mothers, sir. One is yours and another is Ravenshaw, the red building you are talked about. As a fantastic and great communicator as well, we have seen you since long 37 years and more than 37 years, if I'm not wrong. And you have taught more than thousands of students, sorry, not thousand, more than lakhs of students, because you are heading the Department of Commerce in Ravenshaw when I was a student, but at the same time, you were also heading the communication department as well, and numbers of department as well, because every student is your students. You treat like your son and daughter to every student. That's the touch feeling. Why today's session is very important for all of us, because we are completing with your deliberation the 99th episode of this World Human Science and Management Global Dialogue Series. Sir, when you as a trainer train lot of students and lot of corporate tycoons, how many times you look upon their eyes and how many times you seriously think what to not think, and why people are always talking about 2P or P square? One is private sector and another is public sector. Why not people are talking about social sector? What you talked about your 49 minutes of lecture today, you highlighted so many issues, even quote unquote, the Vivekananda's very spiritual and holistic approach, what integral humanism means. And you talked about several philosophers through your talk. And also you highlighted the indigenous knowledge system, the pedagogical practices in terms of the 2020 or new education policy, what it means for. The nation wants to do it, and the entire country should be watch it very clearly about your voices, because everybody knows you are the most important voice of this global south region, and you are heading the one of the great institutions like Kalahandi University. Those are very famous for bad regions, not for good regions. Perhaps last 1 year and more than 11 months particular, when you joined as a Vice-Chancellor there, Kalahandi is very popularizing its folk culture and many traditional concerns as well. Sir, what is your ideas and how you look upon these issues related to private, public and social sector as well? What is your ideas on it, sir?
We are thinking of holistic education, holistic development. So when the vision is holistic, we shouldn't separate what is private, what is public, what is social, what is spiritual. It is a holistic development thing. And as I referred, we want effective citizens, not only efficient citizens. And as I told you, I repeat, effectiveness is doing right things. If you have remembered, we had a National Convention of Sikh Mackay. For 7 days, that was a great event in the Ravenshaw ground. After it is over, the tent covers everything that was taken away. In one morning, I was doing some work. So one of my teachers who was retired, he was in morning work. He told me, Sanjay, what you are doing? I answered, I am picking up the nails which are on the ground, and it may affect the players who will be coming tomorrow to play in this field. He got astonished. How many nails you have collected by now? I told them it is already one bag. He stared at me. And I told, sir, after my death, if Jama will ask me, you are giving the best of the creations, to be a human being, what you have done. There are some answers, but one answer will be, I have picked up lakhs of nails from the road, from the ground, to help people or to check the nails will not affect somebody else. So life is what we will perceive it. We perceive things as we are, not other things are. There are so many people doing so many types of activities. But my concern is, whatever I will do, it should be a social good. I will not think evil. On that, I have got my copyright, as you know, the fourth monkey. Think no evil. Because if there is evil thinking in my brain, by closing my eyes, I can see. By closing my ears, I can listen. By closing my mouth, I cannot check the internal dialogues. So that is what very important for me, for the people around me, and for the globe, to think good, to think positive, and think of a better globe with teamwork, fellow feeling, love, and care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. This is the last question from my side, sir, before I will end of the session, because numbers of participants are watching you on Facebook and YouTube live. Sir, you are now representing the KQ. KQ means Koraput, Kalahandi, and Kandhamal, and you are representing the Kalahandi University as a whole. What about your ideas on justice theory, quote unquote justice theory? It's my own theory. It's probably now very popular in these global South societies as a whole. It means L4 plus C4 minus MQ GQ equal knowledge theory. L4 stands for land, labor, leader, and liberalization. C4 stands for communities, content, contest, and corporate. And minus MQ means MQ stands for market, media, and monopoly. And you are a fantastic market and both media man as well. And GQ, government, globalization, and goods. Goods means quote unquote natural resources. How would you look on the perceptions on particular these community linkage programs to contribute for the society as a whole through our new education policy as the role model of new upcoming youngsters, as you rightly mentioned? If somebody come for a multiple exit and multiple coming options, and if somebody not interested to read sociology, then why she should go for sociology? She or he go for chemistry or biology or any kind of related practices as well. As a man of management, as a man of communication, as a man of real world of academic, and as a man of most vibrant experiencing life journey of yours, how would you say a few words on the justice theory, quote unquote?
A theory I appreciate, but I will take it inside rather. That is, justice is balancing. So that balance is to be maintained, is to be created, is to be nurtured, and is to be internalized. If we are losing balance at any point of time, if we are losing balance in any twist, then the justice will be hampered. I can speak out the feeling which I feel internally. You can make it a larger view. I am indebted to many before my birth. All those who have taken care of my mother for a good child, I am indebted to them. I am indebted to the teacher of my Chahali village school. I am indebted to the roads in which I have walked. I am indebted to all those trees which have given me fruit. I am indebted to all those farmers. I am indebted to all the writers of the books who have encouraged me to think, to be a researcher. I am indebted to the global personalities who are an inspiration to me. I am indebted to the spiritual personalities, indebted to the soldiers who have protected my country, and I am indebted to the global green army, which are thinking of a better globe. So I am indebted to many. Being a student of commerce, I just cannot say what is the volume of that debt. Now people are calculating for a cylinder of oxygen, what is the cost? But we are taking so much oxygen inside every day, every moment. We have not calculated what is the market value of that. So my point, if I focus, each one should think of the indebtedness toward the society, then automatically the equation which you have propounded, justice theory, that will be maintained, and that can give fruits. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you for valuable times, more than 93 minutes as of now. I would not like to invite anyone to go for a formal vote of thanks, as I am going to formal vote of thanks as well from my side, because I am going to vote of thanks my teacher, my mentor. My first and foremost vote of thanks going to enter the global audiences, those are watching this session with Professor Sanjay Kumar Satapathy, the Honorable Vice-Chancellor of Kalahandi University, the founding Vice-Chancellor of our most primitive tribal groups areas university. And next, the vote of thanks, first and not last, to Professor Sanjay Kumar Satapathy for his outstanding 94 minutes, which is probably end by vote of thanks more than 95 minutes. Then the Vice-Chancellor, Honorable Vice-Chancellor of Ravenshaw University, Professor Sanjay Kumar Naik, the patron, Professor Jeswa, the Director of IM Sambalpur, Professor Palita, the IC Vice-Chancellor of Central University of Koraput, and the patrons like Professor Chandi Prasad Nanda and Charudatta Panigrahi as well, and these thematical introductory by Professor Srinivasalu NS from Kolkata National Judicial Academy, and Dr. Shravan Bag, and all esteemed coordinators of this virtual global marathon webinar series, Mapping Mind, Dr. B.C. Das, Professor Sudarshan Mishra, Sudarshan Raut, Dr. Preeti Siranjan, Dr. Neha Sharma, Dr. Neena Das, Rudhunaran Das, and the man behind the entire digital journey. So without taking his name, quote unquote, Shubham Das, he is doing fabulous work from more than day and night, esteemed sleepless journeys. And last but not the least, the entire audiences, those are outer side and inside and looking us in next few days, and welcome you all to next the speaker's journey that was that made on particular the day and time. And without wasting much time, I would like to again give a fantastic platform to all of you. And for this time, I will end the session here. Again, I would like to congratulate and give my bottom-up core thanks to Professor Sanjay Kumar Satapathy ji, and looking forward for future engagement also, sir. And thank you. Namaskar. Jai Jagannath. We'll meet soon any other episode. Thank you so much. Good night. Good night to all. And good morning to USA and as well other part of the country. Thank you so much.